We're here for the conclusion of the Lemurian Phoenix. So last time the waterfall told Ori that him and his brother need to get in a temple and have all of those followers burn them. Blaze of glory. A victory rises from the ashes. Yes, to see which one of them is saved, because the waterfall said Ori will be saved, but, you know, who knows if the waterfall is telling them anything, or are they just making it up based on what they want to hear, right? So, who is this? This experience has given me a whole new perspective on life. As such, my first act will be to put an end to donations and punishment. After that, I would like to live out the rest of my days in solitude, though I will always be with you in spirit. Okay, so they don't show us the face, and who knows what might be going on. It might be none of them. It might be some third person pretending to be them. That's why they're gonna go live in solitude, because they don't want anyone to figure that one out. I assume this here is Tessa. Yes. To think they nearly left you in there. You're coming with me. Yes. So that's potentially where her obsession with the idol starts, right? She learns about the mysterious powers and wants to be able to bring that to her followers back in Hesperia. And then we have someone here who was chained. Interesting, right? Because this person had a key on them that could potentially fit the chains, and they were trying to escape. They have burn mark on their hands that would match this here. Like they were trying to open it. It was hot, so they burned themselves. They weren't able to escape, and yes, there was a secret hatch with a secret chamber underneath. So was this like, I don't know, Koi made up some plan to give the message to Ori as if it was through the waterfall, but instead it was a trap to eliminate Ori, right? Because we know Koi likes to plot like that. Well, we got some burned belt. We've got this, hidden bunker. Because, I mean, Koi built this place. This is Koi's temple. So obviously he would be the one to plant a secret bunker into it, right? Spiritual and elegant, okay. That's back to his whole, donations not allowed, but gifts sure are. First Sentinel coin, Nagasai says, Ascetis needn't be austere. Famous symbol of Koi, yes, the triangle. 2 palladium necklace. Palladium jewelry is more expensive than platinum because it is harder to make. Hand-woven mantle decorated with traditional Lemurian pattern. Okay, would something there be a clue as to who this is or the other person is? So 3 is, this is the clothes. Black pearl bracelet once belonged to Lankan Raja family. A silk garment that was custom made in Louis Bernard fashion house. 7-headed serpent tattoo, circling palm and back of right hand. Donate to Koi's charitable foundation and get one as a sign of your generosity. And model 40823 platinum watch from Broy Simon's latest collection. Yes, so he's like, we reject air-free possession, but not like that. So this person doesn't appear to have any tattoo. On this one, we can't quite see, but I mean, it seemed to be quite close to the... Yes, it's actually on his palm in here. So if it was this person, we would be able to see, unless it's the back of this palm and we can't. Interesting. I do wonder, did he have that tattoo in the Ascension? I guess we can't really see here. Oh well, we'll get to it. I'm sure it's important. I'm sure it's something that we do need to pay attention to, and it will be a thing. But yes, there's nothing on this person that would indicate if it is Koi or not. Well, what else we have to see here? There is a bunch of people and things here. Yes, the proclamations. I do wonder, because this one, I was been wondering about this one. Sin is no longer to be met with punishment but compassion. When I originally saw it in that first time this appears, I was like, what is this to do with? But then through the chapter, we kind of understand that the first Sentinel, they weren't just some commune in the desert that has nothing to do with anything, right? Like the first Sentinel was an actual advisor to the king, and then the Koi and Ori take over that position. We learned that in the chapter updates, which means we know in that first chapter the king is murdered by the first sentinel, which means Pravi did that, right? Pravi did that, and that happens, kind of in line shortly before Pravi is killed then, because obviously we do get the updates that, first he was the spiritual advisor to the new king, but then Koi and Ori take over, which means this line here, that sin is no longer to be met with punishment but compassion, might be to do with the fact that Pravi murders the king and then he basically absolves himself of that sin, right? Again, a bunch of this is quite self-serving, like, I am the first sentinel, my sons will be the first sentinels, right? And if they're twins, they're both gonna be, and, I will live forever. So this one might be to do with the fact that, yes, he kills the king and it's like, but it's fine, Sins are no longer bad. We no longer need to punish people for them. Anyway. There's those people here. They got fire extinguishers. He's writing. Hang on, Manny. I'm still struggling to keep up with the victory speech. And before that started, I didn't have time to finish the minutes. My fingers are going to fall off at this rate. So Manny was someone who was at the party for the solstice in the king's castle. So he's someone high up in the ranks as well. Please bear with me. I'm still not entirely sure what just happened, but I'll do my best to recount everything. This morning, as I prayed in the study, I entered a deep trance and lost all sense of time and space. When my consciousness returned to this earthly plane, I found myself surrounded by fire and smoke, yet I felt no pain. Instead, I heard the voice of our beloved waterfall. It said, "Fear not, child of the universe, for this is your destiny." This experience has given me a whole new perspective on life. As such, my something. Okay, he's not finished. So he's writing whatever this guy's speech is. 1. The Master of Ceremonies called the trial to order. Zira, Legstoy, and Nali Zahariati searched the participants, shackled them together inside the prayer hall, and returned the keys to the Master of Ceremonies. Okay, so that was part of the ritual, but it seems like one of them may have had the keys. Kwanzaa, Raffaelli, and Tessa Nevari ensured all exits were locked, as well as blocked by at least one follower from each camp. The king's soldiers also assumed their positions. Anya Tranta and Fes Relaki handed out Molotov cocktails to all followers from both camps and saw that they were thrown through every window in unison. The fire was allowed to rage for several hours until it finally died down by itself. Victor declared us, yeah, okay. And he's got the government badge. That's many here. Scribe, take down this message directly and have it delivered to the King Lutri at once. Your Highness, I regret to inform you that today's trial has not gone to plan. Our insider could not be found this morning, but we saw no way to hold proceedings without arousing suspicion. Now the trial has ended. The spectators have accepted the new soul first sentinel. Okay, so the king was trying to orchestrate this going one way, but it didn't. It didn't go the way King wanted. Strictly confidential advisory report, trial by ordeal. The Royal Council has reviewed First Sentinel Ori Nagasai's challenge to his brother Koi. Several council members initially raised concerns about the possibility of Ori becoming the sole First Sentinel should Koi perish. Without Koi's limiting influence, they argued Ori's unpredictable nature could render him difficult to control. As First Sentinels are among a few afforded the privilege of holding private council with His Majesty, maintaining stability in this role is paramount. The favored party was contacted discreetly to confirm that he had a plan to ensure his survival. His plan satisfies our conditions and his accomplice has passed our clearance checks. We have provided the spare for handover. Therefore, His Majesty King Lutri Manzek has authorized the trial by ordeal. Okay, so they wanted Koi to win the trial because Ori, they didn't like the way Ori was seeing things, right? They saw Koi probably as more malleable to their wishes, right? Because he cares about possessions and therefore he can be easily bribed. But Ori seems a lot more like a believer of the whole waterfall situation and therefore he's doing what he thinks is actually right. So yeah, there was an accomplice, which could have been Tessa, right? Because she was devoted to Koi and she's here doing things. And yes, there was a plan which might involve that bunker hidden inside that, yes, he was just planning to hide himself there. And strictly confidential copy of brother's correspondence provided by Koi. Okay, you always were a few ranks short of a full ladder. Why on earth would I accept such a challenge? Get stuffed. Ori. So you admit you could not possibly win. Then you should renounce your title, or have you no shame whatsoever. Koi. I changed my mind. I now realize there is no chance of me losing, so why wouldn't I? Take this opportunity to double my following. Before long, I'll be living better than ever off your dedicants' donation. What a pity you won't be around to see it. Ori, that settles it. My dedicants and I will show up at your temple on the date given to me by the waterfall. You'll receive no advance notice. I don't want you preparing any of your tricks. Even the palace will not know when the trial is set to take place until I inform them on the day itself. Koi. So dramatic. Fine. I'll be here ready and waiting. Yes. So he was trying to be like, oh, the palace will not help you, but they will, right? They'll just be ready. How can this be? We cannot deny the blessed waterfall's choice. It truly is a miracle. Okay, so he has two small keys that match the key that this person has. So yes, someone gave him a spare, or they taken it from the other person depending on what's going on. And he's also got the badge. First Sentinel Ori Nagasai has challenged his brother, First Sentinel Koi Nagasai, to a trial by ordeal. Koi has accepted the challenge. Both men will be locked inside Cole's temple, shackled to one another at the hands and feet. The building will be set ablaze by their dedicants, who will guard all possible exits, alongside soldiers from King Lutri Manzek, Royal's army. The blessed waterfall will surely protect he who is worthy of his position, leaving he who is undeserving to perish. I mean, it's a bit of a silly thing on Ori's side to say we do it in Koi's temple, because that means, yes, Koi had all the opportunity to, put secret bunkers, secret rooms, secret whatever in the temple, right? And Ori would have no knowledge of them and no way to prevent that. Prior to today's trial, Ori and Koi Nagasai choose their respective overseers as follows. We have restrained, exitway, ignition. So we have Zira, Kwanzaa, and Anya on Ori's side. And Koi picks Jamati, Tessa, and Fess. Restrained overseas to secure shackles. Yes, so obviously Koi picked Jamati, which Jamati is quite loyal to him with the restraints, so he could have, slipped something there. Exitway overseas, ensure all exits blocked. Again, Tessa's there. She's quite devoted to... I mean, obviously they're both quite devoted to both sides, but Ori's followers seem to be all by the rules and by the book and trusting in the waterfall, therefore they would see no reason to be cheating, while Koi's followers he's clearly manipulating them to, do what he wants, which means if he wanted to cheat, they would help, right? So yes, Tessa is guarding the exit, and then those two people are the fire starters. There is still more spots to find, but right now we don't appear to be able to go anywhere else, which might be another one of those where as things unlock, because all the wards are already given, so as things unlock we may see more spots. Okay, so what we have to say is that Ori has challenged Koi to trial by ordeal. Koi accepted, thinking he could win if he something from someone. So received a key from whoever was doing the key duty, Jamari, unlocked his shackles with it, and then entered a bunker. That was his plan, right? Because the fire must be left raging for hours and then he gets out, right? So he would just be waiting in the bunker until the whole thing burned out, then come out and be like, oh yeah, I didn't die from the fire, clearly a miracle from the waterfall. But before proceedings began, something verbed the something and then it with a something. As a result, only something survived. Well, so here they're saying, yes, the trial has not gone to plan, which means Koi does not survive. The palace wants Koi to win, and they are in on this plan to, cheat the trial, but it doesn't go to plan, which means as a result only Ori survived. So this is Koi here, because he's reaching for the bunker, but he cannot. He could not open it, right? This was a hotel already, he couldn't get in. Before proceeding began, something. Like someone, because there's this belt here, so someone went in there and secured it with a belt so it wouldn't open. But who went down there, right? Did Ori manage? So before proceeding again, Ori entered the bunker and then like secured it, locked it with a belt. So not too far from the answer. I'm just like kind of questioning, you know, is this truly Ori? Is there something else happening? Because like saying before proceeding begins, Ori entered the bunker and locked with a bell. If it happened before proceeding began, surely the followers are still there. Wouldn't they raise alarm saying that he's cheating, right? I mean, what we can also see here now that the place has kind of burned down is that yes, here's his office with the entrance to the secret room with that forklift that he was using to cheat. Then there's this entrance is therefore in the secret room as well. I'm wondering whether this is not Ori. Those two things. It will be something else, right? Like someone takes the opportunity to kill them both, enter, because other people who know about the bunker are Koi's followers, right? So if one of them was like, no, actually, screw you, Koi, I am going to emerge as the new sentinel. Because yes, Jamati was doing the restraints. Tess is outside guarding the exit and Fez is outside doing the things. So yes, did Jamati just like, oh yeah, I am going to take over. Yeah. He took the opportunity and he is now the first sentinel. That's why he has the key, right? This is the key he was going to slip Koi, but instead he decided to betray him. Okay, so we have a timeline now. And we have the plan. Okay, so now we're ordering the events chronologically. We have Jamati doing some digging in the old temple here. We have a film screening, which is something to do with that chapter update about the people that got arrested for blaspheming. And what we have to order is Lutri's murder, Pravi's murder, Koi's miracles, Ori's revelation, trial by fire, Gresto's burial, and the cinema screening. So this feels like it makes sense to me, some of those things when they happen, but then like the cinema screening and the Gresto's burial, you know, where they are in relation to the Ori revelation. We'll have to work it out. I assume by more clues that are in those other screens. But I think Lutri's murder is one of the first things that happens. I know it's the first case, but I think it's still, at that time, Pravi's still alive and he's still the first sentinel, right? Then Pravi's murdered before all of the Koi and Ori stuff happens, but yes, does the cinema blasphemy happen while Pravi is still the first sentinel and the spiritual advisor, or does it happen later? Gresto's burial is definitely later. Yes, it happens. I can't reorder them here because Gresto's burial is before the trial by fire, right? Because it happens earlier on. Fine, I will just look at the different scenes first before trying to guess this. This is first sentinels only. Okay, so he sends him here to bury Gresto right after killing him in that previous chapter 1594. He tells him the code, which might be that note he was holding back then. Yes, this one. You will need this when you get there. Dispose of this note once you're done, right? So is that telling him what the code is? In some like encrypted way? Oh yeah, because it would be like 1, right? So he's like the opposite of this 1. 5 is in the middle, right? So he's like not all of this. Again, 9 is here, so it's like not this, and 4 is like opposite of here, so here. So yes, this is the code to the door. This is the diary again about Koi having nightmares after killing his father. It's the keys and yeah, the permission for him to leave. So yeah, this is shortly after the Koi miracle and that whole scene, right? Because it literally the same night he leaves and he takes this car we see him try to start to here. Koi really has a sick mind choosing this of all places, although I suppose no one will ever disturb the sacred ground here. Hang on a second. I mean, he's seeing the glowy mushrooms that are glowing around this old temple. Oh, actually, you can see Koi's compound from here, and like the other people are by the cave. Oh yes, because there's glowing mushrooms here, but there's also glowing mushrooms here, which means there is like a shelf between the waterfall. And this is kind of what I said earlier, where I was like, did the waterfall speak to Ori, or did someone like, trick him into something? And obviously, one interpretation was that, they just make up what they hear from the waterfall, but interestingly, someone else could plant plant something there, right? To be like, oh yeah, secret message coming from behind a waterfall, except, you know, someone installed something there to give you the secret message. So, you know, it was really Koi's idea to get Ori to challenge him so that he could get rid of him. But obviously he was like playing it like, oh, why would I do this? But then he's like, oh, actually, I will do it, right? But with my whole secret bunker, then it still didn't work because this guy was like, but what if I won? Oh, okay, so we have the miracle. Suddenly the fire rages. Will Pravi survive? But then a mighty wind holds to the east, the last waterfall is redirected. Yes, because that's what they're saying what happened, right? A miracle, Pravi is saved. The prophecy is fulfilled. A person was born, miracle at the waterfall. Okay, yes. Because they're saying like, oh yes, he was praying in this burning temple and the waterfall just sprayed water on him to save him. Could this really have been the result of a miracle win? Like they say, something about the footage seems off. Well, obviously, it wouldn't be the footage of the actual event. Was he a TikToker, had a camera on him at all times? I don't think so. This is supposed to be a reenactment, right? Ticket stop, got money. To honor the death of first Sentinel Pravi Nagasai, the classic Miracle at the Waterfall will be showing all week at the Lagoon Theater. Yeah. Witness the first miracle ever to be captured on film. Real footage of the divine moment that gave rise to the first true Sentinel. An ancient prophecy fulfilled. After the Inferno, only one shall rise, bearing the mark of the universe. Admissions to something only. Interesting. So it is an actual footage from when it happened. Why were they recording? Why were they filming this place? Who knows? But yes, this is shortly after Pravi's death then. Maybe it was. What else could explain the water's trajectory? If only we had a better viewing angle. Yeah, so this is the people that got executed because they were suspicious. Pack of playing cards. Hello, darling. Thank you for those wonderful photographs. What a handsome young man and my grandson has become. How lucky he is to have inherited such a strong set of features from you and Shasai. Gave my love to the family, Daddy. And how dare you doubt the blessed waterfall? And in public, as soon as this ends, I'm reporting them to King Lutri's security guards, yes. So that's how they get in trouble. So they're saying this was shortly after the death. So he dies, right? Because after he does the murder, the son kills him because he declared himself to live forever, and they didn't like that. So we have the cinema screening. So then it's the Koi's miracle versus Ori's revelation. Well, I think actually, so Koi's miracle and Gresto's burial happened very close to each other because it's basically the same night after the miracle, Gresto confronts Koi and it's killed. So we have Koi's miracle and then we do the Gresto's burial, and that's when Jamati discovers that you can go behind the waterfall, and I think they manipulate all his revelation and then they have the trial. No. Okay, well, I mean, this is one of those where it's like you get one incorrect and everything gets shuffled, so it's gonna be incorrect then. If we go out to the chapter, maybe that will help, right? Because this is the thing we get about them being executed. I mean, I was thinking, what if I have this wrong, and what if Pravi wasn't the one that killed the king, but then there was only one first sentinel there, right? If it was after Pravi's death and Koi or Ori did that, then that feels like there would be two first sentinels mentioned at the time instead of just the one. So I think, yes, it's after both their deaths. But there is potential for this to have happened after those events, or some of those events. I'm just trying to figure out. I think those two go together because how close they are in the day, right? Like he's literally doing the miracle midday or in the morning, and then later on that same day he kills Gresto and has the other guy take him out. And I'm still maintaining the whole, you know, Ori's revelation was not real because they discovered you can go behind the waterfall. Okay, what's in the plan? Because that may shed some light. Like someone knew to hide in the bunker because someone told someone the trial date. Motivated by his final goal, which he achieved was to something. Oh, okay. Is it not that they hid there to manipulate Ori into the trial, but is it he hid there to listen to Ori when he received this prophecy from the waterfall? Because we have established that it was Jamati who entered the bunker and locked it. right? So Jamati knew when to hide in the bunker because what I'm trying to say is that when Ori goes to the waterfall and receives the instructions, Jamati is hiding behind the waterfall and he hears it. So it's kind of as if Ori told Jamati the trial date, but not because he was trying to do that, but because he was eavesdropping, right? Motivated by something, his final goal, which he achieved, was to become first sentinel, right? Because that's what happens. Like, if he survives in the bunker, he gets to become first sentinel. But yes, so what is he motivated by? Because he serves Koi quite loyally, but is that his true motivation? Yes, he proved his loyalty and work that day. Not too bright but useful servant, those are all, no question asked. But obviously that might just be something he plays this loyal servant in order to serve his own goals, right? He's convincing Koi that he's worth his trust, but then he uses it against him. But yes, is he motivated by power? Because, he wants to be Sphere Sentinel, so that's why he does this? Or is it more, revenge, right? Because the important part is that here, when those two people are brought to justice for the blasphemy, Shasai and Danzi, they have a son, right? The family's first show, Flying Boy. So now I'm like, is this the son that's mentioned here? Or because she's receiving a letter from her father saying, oh, thank you for picture of my grandson, which is their son, and he inherited strong features from the parents. So yeah, the big nose, the big nose is coming back again. Like, she's got this kind of round nose and stuff like that. So is this the son of the magicians? Which means he's motivated by revenge. Okay, I think, like, I have this wrong here of, like, the way he finds out, like, I think it's something to do with the waterfall, but, oh no, this is right? Because he doesn't want to become first sentinel. It's revenge because he wants to get revenge for his parents' death, right? If we're saying that's who he is. But is it, destroy the first sentinel or debunk him, like, expose them? Because he's clearly mad that his parents were killed, just because the first sentinel says there is no blasphemy laws. Anyway, but that gives us more clues for the timeline, right? Because that means the cinema screening must have happened earlier on for the parents to be executed and him to then seek Koi out. Okay, but still not. Yeah, I think I may have gotten some names confused because of, taking a break between playing. Here in this article about those people being executed, it says those people were sentenced by King Lutri Mansek with guidance from his spiritual advisors, Sentinels Koi and Ori. And I assumed that was the prince from here, King Lutri. But it's not. His name is Zarek, right? It's the king that dies here. His name is Lutri, which means I've got it all mixed up, right? I thought Pravi killed the king for whatever reason, right? Because he didn't like him stepping away from faith, westernizing and whatnot. But it seems that that's not what happened, right? If he's seeking revenge, he might be seeking revenge all across, the people that have caused this, right? So the sentinels and the king. And if the first sentinel kills the king in that very first chapter, and he becomes first sentinel after disposing of the two other ones, that would put the king's murder the last. Right, that's after that guy becomes after Jamati becomes first sentinel. That's why they're kind of hidden, right? They don't want to reveal it. Neither when the first sentinel is leaving the palace. Like, if we saw his face there, we could have recalled it here and seen that it was him or anywhere here. So I think this here makes sense. Like, Pravi's murder triggers the screening in the cinema of Pravi's miracle, the parents question it, they get executed, which sets Jamati, who's, I guess that's not his real name, on this path to revenge. So then, Koi's miracle and Cresto's burial, again, on the same day, and Ori's revelation After? Okay. Well, yes, I've got very confused by this because I constructed the whole thing in my head that Pravi killed the king because that was the sin that they were talking about and in that monument, and that, you know, when the articles were talking about kill Lutri, that was the son because I forgot that was in the name. So got myself confused. Okay, now this whole thing makes more sense, like why this king gets killed, not because he was stepping away from the path that the first sentinel wanted, the religious path, but because this guy is basically avenging the death of his parents. Motivated by revenge, the final goal which he achieved was to, like, again, he wants to avenge his family. Obviously, yes, his first he wants to, like, destroy the first sentinel and stuff like that, but then he also kills the king. Or does he want to debunk the first sentinel? Because, you know, his parents got executed for trying to do so, but he's like, yes, they all are frauds. And actually, no, I got this wrong. Jamati knew when to hide the bunker because it was Jamati gave Ori the trial date, right? He was hiding in there and being like, go over there, do this. Do the trial, set the place on fire while I'm hiding inside. Well, I guess if the final thing he does is kill the king, right? Because all of this getting to be first sentinel situation gives him access to the king in the end, and then he just takes the opportunity to kill him. It's like his final revenge was to kill the king, right? Because he achieves this. Like, I was like, oh, you know, he gets justice by exposing the sentinels, by debunking their miracle, because that's what his parents went down for. But maybe it's much simpler than that. Maybe he's like, oh, the king sentenced my parents to death, so now I'll just go and stab him. Okay, such a simple, like, that's way more sentence that we've been getting for a long time. Usually there's so many holes that we have to fill in. So this seemed to be such a simple thing to do, and yet so complicated because you have to, like, suddenly, as it is with those final chapters, right, get your knowledge and connect all of the dots across the entire thing. Which, I mean, I've connected some dots ahead of the time, but they were the wrong dots, the wrong lines. Yes, okay. Jamati Pira wanted to kill Rotri Manzek, someone and someone, so that's Ori and Koi, right? Because together they had, so here they're saying he wanted to kill Lutri, Ori, and Koi because together they had, you know, led to his parents' execution, I'm pretty sure. But here I was getting confused by that same idea because I was like, he wanted to kill them all, right? He wanted to take revenge for his parents, but the answer was that he just wanted to kill the king. That was his final goal. But here we're saying he wanted to kill them all, so confusion. Because together they had ordered that his parents, that was Shasai and Danizi, be executed. Jamati Peter was able to access the waterfall because Koi gave him the code so that Gresto's body could be buried there. Later, Jamati Pira returned and spoke to Ori from behind the waterfall, ordering him to hold a trial by ordeal. Again, I'm just like, so what? He was just behind the waterfall shouting things, and Ori was like, yeah, that sounds about right for the waterfall speaking. I guess it hasn't happened to him before, so he was like, I guess someone shouting is how the waterfall speaks. Before the trial began, Jamati Pira locked himself inside the bunker, leaving Koi and Ori to die. All this led to Jamati Pira being appointed first sentinel, giving him access to Lutri Manzek, so he killed him, yes. There we go. By now, yes, the work to do the little things have revealed this whole thing, so that made sense. After his parents' execution, Jamati Pira, okay, so that's his actual name, sought revenge against King Lutri Manzek and his two first sentinels, Ori and Koi Nagasai. He joins Koi's following with aim of obtaining intelligence and access. Before long, he had gained Koi's trust by using his knowledge of magic to devise ways for Koi to perform miracles. From there, he bid his time and used his proximity to Koi to uncover more useful information. After Koi gave Jamati access to the waterfall, Jamati spotted spotted the cave behind it. Seeing an opportunity, he formulated his plan. Yes. I think, yeah, my bigger mistake was that I got confused which king was on the throne at the time, because in my head, that all happened right after the original king was assassinated and the son has taken over, because I have forgotten the names. So, yeah, remember people's names. That is better. To the airfield. Anya. Goodbye, Lemuria. I'll never forget you. Okay, so he was like, I want to live in solitude, but actually he just wants to leave. Meanwhile, in Albion, look what I found over there, Oriole. The golden idol. Uh-huh. Now, turn it over. What? Why? Made in Lanka. Oh, a packet of peanuts, please. Barkeep, yes. So she was already out trying to find the golden idol, but she herself was never truly successful. I mean, she found the parts, but she never put it together. She then had to manipulate people for access. Okay, well, I think, yes, this is it. Thank you for playing. Tell us more about what was happening in Lemuria. Tessa was on the picture for the DLC, but she was almost not involved at all, right? She has the 2 tiny appearances. But in the main game, there was a picture of her with her mentor who was Koi, and, you know, it seemed to imply that he had much deeper meaning to her than it's revealed here, because it seems like she was there for a little bit and like stole his idol, but that idol had no power, right? Because he was just cheating his miracles. So that then set her off on further attempts to find those things, and it seems that she knew Orgel already. That's that for that DLC. But we still have the Age of Restraint, which I think we're finally maybe going into what was happening in the ancient Lemuria, right? Because that's what I'm kind of been very curious, obviously, throughout both the games of like, is there any explanations to the powers of the idol? What was happening in the ancient Lemuria? You know, how and why did it fall? So I guess we'll see how much of those answers we get next time from the Age of Restraint. Until then, let me know in the comments if you played the game, like how confused were you by that scenario, whether you immediately knew what was going on, or did you also end up going on some wild goose chases. Anything I missed, anything more I should have found to make the whole thing easier, or get some extra understanding of things. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and if you enjoy my content, consider liking for subscribing. And I will see you soon on another adventure.